On the evening of the 14th of November 2024, at approximately 7:42 p.m., residents in the rural community of Willow Creek, New York, noticed the front door of the Carter family home swinging open and closed in the brisk autumn wind. The home, a charming two-story colonial on Elm Street, had its interior lights blazing warmly against the encroaching dusk, casting long shadows across the manicured lawn. From the street, neighbors could hear the faint murmur of the television in the living room, tuned to the local NBC affiliate, broadcasting urgent updates about an approaching nor'easter. A powerful winter storm barreling down from Canada, promising heavy snow and high winds that could knock out power lines across upstate New York. In the dining room, visible through the bay window, a prepared meal sat untouched on the oak table. A succulent herb-roasted chicken still steaming slightly, creamy garlic mashed potatoes, crisp green beans, almondine, and a basket of freshly sliced sourdough bread from the town's beloved Willow Creek bakery. The table was set meticulously with the family's heirloom china plates, silverware, and cloth napkins arranged for four, as if the Carters had been moments away from sitting down to their Thursday night family dinner, a ritual they upheld religiously amid the hustle of small-town life. Yet, the entire Carter family, John, Emily, Tyler, and Mia, was nowhere to be found, their absence hanging like a pall over the otherwise idyllic scene. This unexplained disappearance sent shockwaves through the close-knit town of Willow Creek, a place where everyone knew everyone else's business, and doors were often left unlocked. Neighbors, bundled in flannel jackets against the chill, gathered on the sidewalk, whispering speculations under the glow of street lamps. One elderly resident, Mrs. Hargrove from across the street, recalled seeing the family's Ford Explorer pull out of the driveway earlier that evening but assumed it was just a quick errand. The incident disrupted the community's sense of security, prompting immediate calls to the sheriff's office. By 8:30 p.m., flashing red and blue lights illuminated the neighborhood as law enforcement arrived. Upon entering the home, deputies noted clear signs of a hasty exit. John's keys dangled from a hook by the front door. Emily's purse lay open on the kitchen counter, with her wallet inside, and the kids' cell phones were plugged into chargers on the upstairs nightstands, their screens dark and notifications piling up. The oven was still warm, its timer beeping insistently, and a half-finished glass of red wine sat on the counter, lipstick marks on the rim matching Emily's shade. However, other elements hinted at premeditation. In the attic, partially packed suitcases contained seasonal clothing, toiletries, and family photo albums. Passports were tucked away in a hidden compartment of John's desk, alongside birth certificates and social security cards. And most chillingly, a handwritten note on a crumpled napkin beneath one of the dinner plates read, "We're finally free. Don't look for us." The note's ink was fresh, smudged slightly, as if written in a rush. Further examination of the property revealed even more peculiarities. Surrounding the home, in the dense ring of ancient oak trees that bordered the backyard, unusual carvings had been etched into the bark, intricate patterns resembling ancient runes, alchemical symbols, and what appeared to be protective wards. These formed an almost perfect perimeter around the house, as if warding off some unseen threat. Local kids had long avoided playing near those trees, calling them the whispering oaks due to the way the wind rustled their leaves like hushed voices. The carvings, fresh and deliberate, added an eerie layer to the mystery, blending the mundane with the macabre in a way that would fuel late-night discussions at the town's diner for months to come. The Carter family embodied the quintessential American dream in a small-town setting, the kind of folks you'd see featured in a Hallmark movie about community spirit. John Carter, 45, was a steadfast accountant at Eldridge Financial Services, a mid-sized firm in the nearby city of Eldridge, about a 45-minute commute along winding Route 9. Known for his precision and dry wit, John was the guy who balanced the books for local businesses and never missed a deadline. He volunteered with the Lions Club, organizing pancake breakfasts to fund scholarships, and coached Tyler's youth soccer team, where his motivational speeches peppered with quotes from Vince Lombardi were legendary. Friends described him as the rock of the family, always with a tool belt handy for home repairs or helping neighbors clear snow after blizzards. His wife, Emily, 42, was a beloved third-grade teacher at Willow Creek Elementary School, where she transformed her classroom into a wonderland of learning with themed units on American history and nature studies. Respected for her innovative teaching incorporating hands-on projects like building model pioneer wagons, she was deeply involved in the community, running a monthly book club at the public library, focusing on classics like Laura Ingalls' Wilder's Times Little House Time series, and chairing the annual Harvest Fair, complete with apple bobbing, hay rides, and a pumpkin carving contest. Emily's warm smile and endless energy made her a fixture at PTA meetings and church potlucks, where her homemade apple pie was always the first to disappear. Their children rounded out the picture-perfect family. Tyler, 16, was a junior at Willow Creek High School, a star varsity soccer player with dreams of earning an athletic scholarship to a Big Ten college like Syracuse University. Tall and athletic, with his father's determined jawline, Tyler spent weekends practicing drills on the town field or hanging out with friends at the local arcade, debating the latest NFL trades. Mia, 12, was the creative spark of the family, an avid reader of fantasy novels like Times Harry Potter Times and Times The Chronicles of Narnia *. She filled sketchpads with drawings of mythical creatures and dreamed of becoming an illustrator, often entering her artwork in county fairs. The siblings were close, with Tyler protective of his little sister, teaching her soccer tricks in the backyard. The Carters lived in a well-maintained colonial-style home, painted crisp white with black shutters, featuring a wraparound porch adorned with seasonal decorations, pumpkins in fall, twinkling lights in winter. It was the kind of house where neighbors stopped by for coffee, and the family hosted barbecues on Memorial Day and 4th of July, grilling burgers and waving American flags. Willow Creek itself, a hamlet of about 2,500 souls in upstate New York, exuded a timeless, historic charm. Founded by Scottish settlers in the early 1800s, the town boasted cobblestone streets, restored Victorian homes, and a central square with a Civil War monument. Surrounded by the vast, whispering woods, a sprawling forest of maple, oak, and pine trees, the area offered outdoor recreation like hiking trails, fishing in Willow Creek, the namesake stream, and cross-country skiing in winter. Old mills along the creek, now converted into artisanal shops selling maple syrup and handmade quilts, drew occasional tourists from New York City. Local folklore, passed down through generations, included tales of ghostly apparitions, unexplained lights in the woods, and disappearances dating back to the town's founding stories, often shared around campfires or at the annual Halloween festival. While most residents dismissed them as tall tales to scare kids, they added a layer of intrigue to the otherwise sleepy community. Much like the legends of Sleepy Hollow, just a few hours south, the disappearance ignited a frenzy of speculation. Some whispered about possible financial troubles for John, rumors of layoffs at Eldridge Financial amid economic downturns. Others pointed to Emily's recent stress, perhaps from school budget cuts or personal issues. Tyler's friends noted he'd seemed distracted, skipping a few practices, while Mia's teachers mentioned her drawings had taken a darker turn, featuring shadowy figures in the woods. A few eccentric locals revived the old legends, suggesting the family had been claimed by the Whispering Woods, but the majority clung to rational explanations. A runaway family, a domestic dispute, or even an elopement gone wrong. Town hall meetings turned into impromptu support groups, with residents organizing search parties and prayer vigils at the Methodist Church. Sheriff Harlan Reed, a grizzled 58-year-old veteran with 30 years on the force, and his sharp-eyed deputy, Lena Vasquez, 32, a former NYPD officer who moved to Willow Creek for a quieter life, arrived at the scene around 9 p.m. after frantic calls from neighbors. Reed, known for his no-nonsense demeanor and handlebar mustache, had handled everything from bar fights at the local tavern to lost hikers in the woods. Vasquez, with her background in urban crime scenes, brought a fresh perspective, her keen observational skills honed from years patrolling Brooklyn streets. Neighbors reported the anomaly, emphasizing the Carters' punctuality dinner was always at 7:30 sharp. Inside, the home was eerily pristine. No overturned furniture, no broken glass, just the abandoned meal cooling on the table, and the oven timer's persistent beep echoing through the kitchen. Mia's sketch pad lay open on the coffee table. A half-finished drawing of a family picnic interrupted mid-stroke. Tyler's backpack, stuffed with algebra homework, slumped by the stairs. The family's Ford Explorer, a reliable blue SUV with a proud parent of a honor student bumper sticker, was conspicuously absent from the garage, its oil spot still fresh on the concrete floor. State troopers from the New York State Police Barracks in Eldridge joined the effort, cordoning off the property with yellow tape under the now falling snowflakes from the nor'easter. Forensic teams dusted for prints and collected samples, finding no signs of forced entry, struggle, or blood spatter. The partially packed suitcases in the attic held not just clothes, but also sentimental items like Mia's favorite stuffed bear and Tyler's soccer medal. The $5,000 in cash, withdrawn in small increments from ATMs over the past month, was bundled in envelopes marked Emergency Fund. The napkin note was authenticated as Emily's handwriting through comparison with school notes and grocery lists. Interviews painted a picture of subtle unease. John's colleagues at Eldridge mentioned he'd been working overtime, auditing accounts late into the night, perhaps due to a big client merger. Emily had requested personal leave from the school principal, citing family matters, but offered no details. Tyler's soccer coach noted the teen had missed practice twice, blaming cramps, while Mia's art teacher recalled her talking about bad dreams involving the woods. Phone records showed several unanswered calls from burner phones with out-of-state area codes. And the family landline had a voicemail from an unknown caller saying, "It's time to settle old debts." Bank statements revealed no major red flags, but a small life insurance policy had been recently updated. The next morning, the 15th of November 2024, as the nor'easter dumped 6 inches of snow, a K-9 unit from the state police scoured the property and woods. The dogs, German shepherds trained for search and rescue, picked up the family's scent, leading to the tree carvings but lost it abruptly at the forest edge, as if the trail vanished into thin air. Deputy Vasquez, with her interest in history from college courses, photographed the symbols and later identified them as a mix of Norse runes, like those from Viking sagas, and alchemical icons, evoking medieval European mysticism, possibly copied from online sources or books. Digital forensics on the family computer, seized from John's home office, uncovered a treasure trove of deleted browser history. Searches for Celtic rituals for protection, breaking generational curses, hauntings in upstate New York, and surviving in the wilderness. Emily's email inbox contained correspondence with a genealogist in Edinburgh, Scotland, tracing the Carter lineage back to 19th-century immigrants who fled persecution during the Highland clearances. One email referenced a family pact tied to the town's founding, hinting at buried secrets. The community buzzed with revived folklore. At the Willow Creek Diner, over cups of black coffee and stacks of pancakes, residents shared stories of the 1,852 disappearance of a Scottish miller's family, blamed on forest spirits, and the 1,920 case of loggers vanishing during a lumber boom, with only carved trees left behind. Skeptics dismissed it as coincidence, but the tales gained traction on local Facebook groups and Reddit threads like r Unsolved Mysteries. Surveillance footage from a Sunoco gas station 20 miles north on Interstate 87 captured the Explorer at 8:15 p.m., with John pumping gas, Emily buying snacks inside, and Mia in the back seat, clutching her sketchpad. Tyler, however, was absent from the video, sparking theories he might have stayed behind or been elsewhere. Tire tracks in the snow suggested the vehicle headed toward the Adirondacks, a vast wilderness area popular for camping but treacherous in winter. The case went cold through the holidays, with search parties braving sub-zero temperatures to no avail. Then, in February 2025, an anonymous email to Sheriff Reed's office traced to a public library in Albany provided GPS coordinates to a remote hunting cabin deep in the Adirondack Mountains, about 100 miles north of Willow Creek. A joint task force, including FBI agents from the Albany field office, snowmobiled to the site amid lingering winter drifts. The Explorer was parked outside, dusted with snow, its tank half full and keys in the ignition. Inside the cabin, a rustic log structure with a stone fireplace and basic amenities, signs of disturbance abounded. Overturned chairs, scattered clothing, and bloodstains on the wooden floor. Emily's journal, hidden under a loose floorboard, chronicled her obsessive genealogical research, linking the Carters to Scottish clans involved in ancient pacts for prosperity, supposedly renewed every century. Entries grew frantic, describing nightmares of shadowy figures and a belief that November 14 marked the pact's anniversary, demanding a sacrifice to break the cycle. She wrote of planning an escape to start anew in Canada, but feared an intruder following them. In the basement, a damp, earthen space lit by a single bulb, authorities discovered the bodies of all four Carters, arranged in a circular pattern around a makeshift altar of stones and candles. Autopsies revealed slit throats as the cause of death, with toxicology showing high levels of sedatives likely over-the-counter sleep aids, possibly self-administered to ease the process. John and Emily had no defensive wounds, suggesting compliance or surprise, while Tyler bore bruises and cuts on his arms, indicating a struggle. Mia's body clutched a drawing of the family holding hands in a forest, with runes scribbled in the margins. Piecing together evidence, investigators zeroed in on Elias Carter, John's estranged older brother, 48, a reclusive mechanic living in a trailer on the outskirts of Willow Creek. The brothers had fallen out years earlier over inheritance of family land, 200 acres in the Whispering Woods, recently discovered to hold valuable lithium deposits amid the U.S. push for electric vehicle batteries. Elias, bitter and debt-ridden, had fabricated elements of the legend to scare the family, carving the trees himself and making anonymous calls to heighten paranoia. Digital traces linked him to the burner phones and the genealogist emails. He'd impersonated Emily in some. Fingerprints on a hunting knife found at the cabin matched his, and tire tracks from his pickup truck were embedded in the snow nearby. Elias had intercepted the family en route, posing as a guide to safety, only to lead them to the cabin where he orchestrated the murders, staging it as a ritual suicide to deflect blame. A multi-agency manhunt ensued, with Elias captured hiding in a motel near Lake Placid after a tip from a gas station attendant. During interrogation, he claimed the Carters had initiated a group suicide pact, pointing to forged notes in John's handwriting, later proven falsified. However, DNA evidence on the bodies and weapon sealed his fate. In a high-profile trial in Eldridge County Court, Elias was convicted on 4 counts of first-degree murder, sentenced to life without parole at Clinton Correctional Facility. The Carter family was laid to rest in Willow Creek Cemetery, under a shared headstone inscribed with, "Together in eternal peace." The community erected a memorial bench in the town park, overlooking the woods. While Elias rots in prison, some residents still report anecdotal oddities, anomalous lights or whispers in the Whispering Woods, on November 14 anniversaries fueling podcasts and true crime documentaries. The case underscores timeless American themes: the destructive power of family feuds, the allure of fabricated myths in rural folklore, and the fragility of trust in tight-knit communities, reminding us that even in the heartland, darkness can lurk beneath the surface.